Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the IC podcast with your host, Maddie Lynn, and my backyard, or a portion of it. We are outside to enjoy the sunshine at the same time as we provide you with insights, awareness, language, perspective of the cosmic sort. Trying to define cosmic perspective, I attempted to do so with the name of the podcast, IC, spelt EYESEA, to put ourselves in the point of view of the cosmic eye that sees everything, the universal approach to our experience as a collective, the experience of the subconscious in this conscious realm. The sea is that themed element where water is the subconscious and that endless place of complete potential, unbounded and untapped, yet is where we are going and what is calling to us through our waking moments as we walk through this world on our 2 feet. So many themes and so many categories to life that bring me into the desire to talk and articulate them. And the avenue that brings me to this ability was health and wellness, because my previous experience as a nurse brought me the lovely ability to observe and witness what is going on in other people's bodies, and then thus my own. We have a lot of conversation to end up there, and yet what is getting our attention is coming from that very same notion of well-being, calling to us what is our ideal, what is perfect in our minds inside of ourselves. I'm trying not to say spirit or soul, because to overuse a word when it is within every single essence of our experience, every little aspect is filled with such idea. And so here we are to articulate it a little bit and bring it around into the conversation of well-being and wellness when we define what that is as well. If you have watched my previous podcast episode, it was to enter into the conversation of what the essentials are, as well within my ability to communicate them. The essentials I'll list out. They are in no particular order: sleep, daylight, including breath, preferably fresh air, relationship to it, nutrition and hydration, body movement, social circle, interactions, purpose, day-to-day and grand, and belief in a higher power. So of these 8 things, they all connect, they all have an interplay, and they are all deeply embedded within a grander experience. So what is the point of taking care of oneself and investing into your nutrition via organic material? Why do we bother spending more money on things that will be good for us when cheaper options are available, when shortcuts are available, when we can just sit around and do nothing? And though nothing is something we also need, the rest, the practice of such, and the notion that we need to relax deeply from this overstimulated and quite chaotic world. So why bother doing anything? Why am I even coming here to you inside of this little piece of technology? Whatever you're watching this video on, why am I recording myself? The idea of asking yourself, and for me asking myself why, really does come into the conversation of purpose, right? There is a reason, yet no one can define that for you. I mean, you can attempt to live your life run by other people's outside perspectives, and maybe you do need and benefit from constructive criticism, because that's a real thing. Yet what I'm getting to is the conversation of your soul's purpose. What are you doing within your day? How are you living? What is your way of being? How are you being? And thus, is that well? Can you admit to yourself what that is in the defining the conversation that is attempting to define such things. Are you well? If someone asks you, hi, how are you? I'm well, thank you, how are you? Can you say that? Do you have the feeling, the resonance of that truth? If you respond to the question that is stirred inside of you in different moments and in different places and environments and contexts, what is your mission? What is your purpose? Why are you here? There's superficial ways to answer that, depending on the context. You know, it could just be showing up in a party and going, yeah, I'm here to party. Or, hopefully there's an or. There's a lot of other contexts and conversations in that internal dialogue, conversation with yourself is happening, and you can reflect and be introspective and be honest and open with yourself. What do I feel called to? What are my passions? What am I fired up by? What gets me stoked to be and participate with? Rather than being a bystander in life, rather than being not aware of how you're investing your energy and resources that are precious and truly a gift in this planet. So by paying attention to these places that you are indeed inside of for that very reason, to find out the answer, the message is what you're finding from that moment. The message is what is finding you. The message from somewhere in between this realm and next. It gets deep, friends. So with the notion of this message coming to you, even if you're not even specifically asking a question, let alone when you are specifically crying out to the universe in many ways, what is the point? Why am I here? Why am I putting up with all this crap? What is all this nonsense here to teach me? You'll begin to pick up on the notion that there are lessons inside of every experience, and you are actually meant to be right where you are. Oh man, even in this very moment, I'm right here, meant to be right here, telling you guys that there's a reason for all of your felt experiences, for all of the places you find yourself within, for all of the difficulties and challenges and obstacles that you're faced with. There's a lot of language that I come up with and come to the conversation with because I've been inside of my own. That's a separate podcast, that's a personal conversation. I'm here to say that I understand deeply that each experience that comes to you and that challenges you and shows you where you need to grow and where you could find yourself as a more improved and aligned version of yourself, they're there to show you your strength, not to challenge you and turn you away from it. Those moments that really you want to run away from and avoid entirely are your opportunities. And they present themselves to you saying, hey, you got this. And that's what I'm here to do, saying, hey, show up and face it till you make it. So even in moments when there are so many difficulties and more reasons to not do the thing than to do the thing, all you need is one reason, one good reason, one rationale that you really truly feel and resonate with, so that when you are faced with something extremely challenging or something on the end of extreme inside of that spectrum, when you feel like you couldn't possibly manage, you really can, because life is calling you on that side of things, saying, hey, rise, keep going, do not stop. Why would you? And so to circle into this conversation with another little idea, the fundamental nature of us is truly to discover what it is, what spirit is, and that discovery itself is somewhat undefinable, somewhat outside of our language. Possibly never will we ever even begin to fathom how much of it there is. And it's just that very notion of endless existence, that expansive place that we exist and reside inside of, that we can call life, and life is here because for the love of it. There truly is nothing else within our context of being human that matters more than realizing that we are inside of fabric of nature, the essence of love. The fact that we are human and biological beings and evolving every day and walking towards that very notion of discovery of our evolution and participating with it, we begin to see. We enter into places that are so much love, and we learn to participate and contribute as we receive that understanding that life is all around us. Within us, we are housed by it, divinely guided into and around places that speak it and sing it. So some of the things and qualities of nature that we can find ourselves discovering more love truly are practices that bring us to the earth, as she is that house and home for us. Our bodies, tuning into our bodies and what they need. That's why the conversation of wellness is so very important, because we have needs that are undeniably priority and primarily what we need to focus on in order to love Earth. So if we love ourselves, we love our world around us, that just ripples out. It simply is the case that all of what we put into loving comes back to us limitlessly, endlessly. There's no way to even begin to describe how much energy really does receive the intention behind it. So here I am to talk to you and remind you that your spirit has a purpose. You are here for that very notion of carrying forward the message of being a human, simply put. So whatever may be inside of your day-to-day lives, there are ways to approach it. There are conversations to bring you out from within, and also to go into what is you, and inside of your direct experience are the intricacies of your lessons and your challenges and your opportunities for growth. I have been saying something along the lines of into you go for my yoga practice development. I've been writing out yoga practices, and as well I'm inside of conversations where I can support people as well as myself to help them get outside from within and get inside from the outside. We want to be with ourselves and with that presence of our spirit, and there are moments that are very, very challenging for that very same thing. That is exactly what we need and want and desire. Reminders are there, things that we can attune to, and sing our song of love because we practice that way of being. Like I was saying, being with things of the earth, so maybe you can find yourself gardening, going for nature walks, getting yourself touching the grass as I am doing right now, and other things of practicing body movement practices that get you into your felt experience, because dissociating and being so far away from our place of spirit where it's housed, there are ways to come back. As much as that is the invitation, sometimes we don't even recognize that it's there because we're so far away. And may this video be a reminder to come back into what is yours, rightfully. I also love the expression of the idea in which our souls are not carried by our bodies, but our bodies are carried by our souls. So this idea is to show us where our energetic selves are, and to again tune into it. So I'll leave you guys with all of these thoughts and ideas because they really are something I can circle around for quite some time. I'll come into the end of this video with an invitation. If you are looking to understand more of these ideas, where you are inside of it all, I have opportunities and offerings where there is my approach to the conversation from many different angles. I have wellness conversations where we discover what it is for you to define and describe your activities of daily living. And then as well, I am a huge fan of astrology. I love to be the person to open up the conversation and see where your amplifications of energy are, because that is a thing. We have aspects of self because we are multi-dimensional. We can dive into different little parts of us that make up a complete picture. And when we have more language, more insight, more knowing, we then can operate at an optimal level with that in mind, because we do have to practice being ourselves. It's not like we just wake up one day and then it's easy, but it gets easier and easier and easier when you show up for it. So other things I love to offer are tarot reads. I have multiple, there are multiple approaches again to the idea of tarot. We can simply talk about the story of life, or we can open up into a reading and get into what the moment is trying to bring inside of your awareness, what message is coming to you in that moment, excuse me. And so yeah, with this video, may there be peace that is felt from knowing that your journey is just as it's meant to be. And this video is to bring truth to that very notion that you're not alone. There is this ultimate and undefinable, whatever you would like to call it, you can call it. This source, this creator, this power behind the scenes that is calling to you to keep going and evolve. You either repeat or evolve. And so life's endless mission is to dive into these places where we evolve and feel more and more safe and secure and supported in those places that we just don't know and can't describe just yet until we go there. What does that mean, Maddie? Stay tuned, and we'll talk about it again. As always, mad love to you all. Many messages of peace, endlessly coming from my being. Until next time, friends, stay well and be good to yourselves. Namaste.